and gentlemen, welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican and then to the Socialist. We have a great guest with us tonight. Um, Rick Ector is with us tonight from the Firearm Academy, Rick Ector Firearm Academy of Detroit. You start a firearm academy, sir, in Detroit. Now, Detroit is known at one time as the murder capital of the world. It's now been replaced by Baltimore. Uh, and so I got to ask you, aren't you told that you, as a black man, have a responsibility not to go use guns? Aren't you told that?
I would say socially and in your community and the so-called local leadership, they'll have you buy into the fact that guns are evil and guns are bad and only bad people have guns and the only people that should have them are police officers. And, I'm not saying I totally bought into that. I just bought into the fact that I felt I didn't need one because I was a good guy who lived a good life.
Mm-hmm.
And as I shared with you earlier, I found out that, hey, you can be a great guy and live your life and not bother anyone. It doesn't mean that trouble won't come looking for you. And it found me literally in my backyard, closing the door. So,
Exactly.
I'm a true believer and I understand. But, one of the things that you may find is that there are a lot of people who are so-called leaders in the black community of a certain particular political party. They'll tell you they're anti-gun, but I know a lot of them personally, and I've met and talked with them on the sets of local TV shows. Informally, they'll confess to me that they own guns and have carry permits, and they've said, hey, I'll never confess to it on the air. But, they don't even believe in what they believe. They happen to align themselves with a political party that's anti-gun, and they toe the party line. But many people who are Democrats, many people who, are publicly anti-gun, they are gun owners and they have carry permits.
Now, most of the individuals, in fact, when you do a study on mass shootings, a large number, an exceptionally large number, happen to be Democrats who are responsible for those mass shootings. And I've always said that maybe we should just ban guns for Democrats, and that way we would not deal with that problem. But your thoughts: should the state ban access to guns, and if so, should you ban access to individuals who have mental health issues and things of that particular nature?
We have 20,000 gun laws on the books, man, and certain people, for example, the anti-gunners, they're not satisfied on another 20,000 gun laws. We have gun laws against people with mental illnesses and criminal backgrounds. They're already prohibited from owning guns. And when we do the post-mortems, if you will, on these mass shooting incidents, we'll find in most cases the person wasn't supposed to have a gun anyway, or they already
Mm-hmm.
had some mental issue already and they were already legally precluded from owning guns. In one of these particular cases that we've had over this past weekend, we just happened to have an individual who may not necessarily be crazy in the conventional sense, but was fueled by hate. And he was driven for whatever reason to commit the heinous offense that he did. But I don't try to make things too political.
Yeah.
There has been an observation that's been made by many people that the last three mass shooters we've had, within the last week or so, they all were Democrats. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you haven't found many conservative or many Republicans who are mass shooters. But
Yeah,
I'm not going
exactly.
to draw that distinction, but because the thing is, they typically have guns too. They just don't advertise it and they don't broadcast it. It's just because when we go through this political process and we try to gain power, we
Exactly.
suppress some of the things that we do in private and we don't make it public. But many people who are publicly anti-gun are gun owners in private.
Exactly. Now, to be a gun owner, and first and foremost, let me do this question first, because a large group of individuals who profess to me that you do not need a gun happen to be women. And this is just from anecdotal, this is just my personal observation. And they tell me that you don't need a gun. You can talk your way out of these particular issues, or you don't have to be in that situation. You can cross the street and not be in that situation. I'm quite certain there was no way you were crossing the street when you were in your front of your garage at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. It ain't gonna happen. But and also the women say, I'm scared. I don't want to carry a gun. I might hurt somebody. Can you talk to me about why women should conceal carry and should be firearm owners?
Well, women are definitely the weaker sex, and I don't say that despairingly. They're just not as strong physiologically as men are.
Mm-hmm.
And there are bad guys who exist out there who want to victimize other people. And for many of them, women are the perfect victims. Often smaller. They're often in a situation where they have people who are even more vulnerable than they are, whether it's an older parent or it's a small child, that also increases the likelihood of them being victimized. You know, there's an organization here locally, and I'm not going to name them for obvious reasons, but, you know, they've been doing a lot of anti-crime work here in the city. You know, they take a different, position. Instead of advocating guns, and they never mention guns at all, they chose to give out whistles. And the idea is that if you gave a woman a whistle who's about to be a crime victim, that this
Mm.
woman would blow this whistle, and all of a sudden it would draw attention to the fact that she's about to be victimized. Well, I tell you what, someone pulls a gun on you, you're not going to blow a whistle because it's not going to do anything. You're still going to be victimized. The whole thing with empowering women is that I'm actually giving them a means of protecting themselves in that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to say that a lot of women have responded. There have been a lot of incidents in the media over recent years in which women have been presented with violence, and these women produced their firearms. And if they did not shoot the perpetrator, they drove them away. And it did not involve a whistle, and had a whistle been produced, it would have been completely non-effective. So
Exactly.
God bless those individuals. They get lots of media time because they don't advocate that women carry guns. But for women who are the prized victim among these bad guys, they really need a gun. Here in the city of Detroit, depending on what year it is, consistently year after year, in our crime stats, 500 women or so, give or take a few, are raped every year.
Yeah.
So I can't think of a better deterrent or a better solution for women than to produce a firearm and to defend themselves. And for the women out there who may hear this broadcast or see this podcast, see this video, I'm here to tell you that a woman can operate a firearm just as easily, just as capably as a man can. As a matter of fact, women typically learn better than men do because they're actually paying attention, and they don't have a lot of testosterone and ego flooding their brains, and they actually are going to listen to how to actually shoot. So they tend to do better than men. So I'm
Exactly.
glad to see them.
Yeah, exactly. Because normally the women are firing on the ready. They fire on the go. So, what you say?
I mean, it's true, man.
It's very true.
It's true.
Women are very brilliant individuals. They can control their situations. They can control handling firearms. But there is an organizational, societal movement to prevent women from protecting themselves. And I don't know if it's masochistic, but I really believe that it is sadistic in the sense that individuals are trying at their best to keep women unempowered. You've done a great job. You have women's classes in Detroit. But here's my follow up question to something earlier. Um, how fast do the police arrive after you were involved in um, you were the victim of the crime? How fast did the police come?
Well, in my particular situation, many years ago, man,
Hmm.
they did arrive, but it was well after a half an hour. I can't exactly tell you how long it took them to actually
Exactly.
arrive on the
And the
scene, man.
national average,
But you know, when
the
you
national average is about 20 minutes before a police officer would show up. So the real first responder would be the individual who's the victim. Am I correct?
the best person to protect and to safeguard the victim is the victim himself or herself who's actually there in real time. You know, the police, God bless them, they can only get there after something has happened or after someone has notified them. And in these recent mass shooting events, one of them was the police just happened to be in the area and they responded in 1 minute. One
Hmm.
minute wasn't fast enough. And the other mass shooting incident that preceded it within the same 24-hour period, you know, it took them, what, 6 minutes?
Yeah.
6 minutes is not fast enough. How fast do you have to be? As soon as someone shows up and has no qualms or compunction about offering unsolicited violence to their fellow man or to their fellow woman, that's when they need to be addressed. And
Hmm.
in this last case, not the one where the police officers actually killed the killer. But in the case before that, the guy gave up as soon as another gun pointed at him arrived on the scene. So a lot of times, what it actually takes is an actual gun pointed at the bad guy to make him stop, which is why I'm for empowering people everywhere. And there was a
Hmm.
story I caught earlier today where women in El Paso are, well, it's not just women, but people in general, men and women, are flooding the gun shops. And I guess I had bought into the stereotype about Texas, but then again, Texas is a very large state, right?
Yeah.
You could fit several states inside of Texas, and there are certain areas of Texas that aren't as pro-gun as a lot of us think they are. And
Hmm.
some of the news reports I've seen today is that people are flooding the gun shops. And
Yeah.
so I say this: I am so glad that the Second Amendment is still available to those people in those communities to go to a gun shop and to buy a gun and empower themselves and protect themselves wherever they may legally be.
You know, there are individuals who don't understand that uh, criminals are not setting your life ahead of themselves. They're setting their lives in front of someone. Criminals don't mind going into a situation where they're the only ones who are armed. They do not like to be in an environment where other people are armed. Would it be wise and would it be prudent for those who are watching tonight to actually maybe purchase a gun, but before they get to purchase a gun, take a training class on how to use a firearm?
Well, training is definitely imperative. If you're going to be a gun owner, yes, you need to have some training. Now, we can have a debate as to how much training it actually needs, but they should, at least at a bare minimum, know the fundamental rules of firearm safety. These things are not rocket science. Any can learn them. They're easy to do and easy to follow. You just have to follow them every single time you come into contact with a firearm. Depending on what state you live in, there might be some requirements to uh, pass the scrutiny of the state to get a permit. Some states allow you to carry openly, and some allow you to carry concealed. You know, I just would ask. I know you have a national audience, that everyone check their local laws and to ensure that they do not run afoul of those laws. You know, gun laws are numerous, and in many cases, in many jurisdictions, they carry very harsh and severe penalties if they're violated.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, Texas has that reputation of being fairly liberal with respect to gun laws, and hopefully Texas will remain Texas. You know, there's a lot of talk that people think Texas is on the verge of turning blue. You know what? Texas is still going to be Texas, man, and I don't see Texas giving up their guns anytime soon.
Nah, I wouldn't give up, especially after this weekend. I would never, never. But there are people, and I want to mention, I'm going to have you back. Hopefully next month we could talk about some other things regarding it, um, because there are lots of people who have set this idea in place that it is faster for the police to get to you than for you to deal with a situation. If I'm a block away from you and I'm stalking you, how long does it take for me to catch up with you if I start running after you?
You know, we have a drill. It's called the Tula drill, man. When time permits, it's one of those visual demonstrations I like to actually perform. In a nutshell, you'll take two people and they'll be 20 feet apart. The one person will role play the victim, and one person will role play the bad guy. And we'll give them something like inner roll of a paper towel roll made of cardboard, something
Yeah.
that wouldn't hurt someone.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I'm going to give the pretend bad guy a signal, and he's going to race towards you and see how fast he can run up to you and tap you with that paper tube. And then you're going to turn around and pretend like you're going to draw an imaginary gun. Invariably, by the time it takes you to realize that someone is running towards you and they're having something that's not a gun, maybe a blunt instrument or a knife, you're going to be cut and you're going to be hit. The
Yeah.
very first thing that you need to do is to actually be aware. And then when you are aware, you see it and you're going to have to move. And with training, you can learn how to move or strafe or move to the side or increase distance from you. And then you can use your concealed pistol and then return the favor and actually penalize him for having the absolute gall to solicit you with unsolicited violence.
I just want to end this conversation with you just temporarily tonight because I need to have you come back. You are so very vital and important to the over 50,000 people that watch the show on a nightly basis around the country, and also in the podcasts and telecasts that we send out via YouTube. Are there evil people in the world, and should good people be prepared for them? Very simple question.
Man, all you have to do is fire up your social media programs, whether it's Instagram or Twitter. Turn on your local TV and watch the news broadcast, whether it's local, there's a regional station, or watch the national news. There are violent people everywhere, and these folks have no qualms about offering you unsolicited violence. What we need is for good people to be willing to protect themselves, their homes, and their families.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't gotten it already, you need to go to Detroit CPL class.usgunclasses.com, or just go to Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit. You can Google it. That's one good thing for Google. I don't know too much more, but you can Google it. Rick
I can
Ector
think of one other thing, man.
Yeah.
They can Google my name. They'll find me on all the social media platforms. I'm on all of them, for whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, I'm on it. You can find me if you look for me.
Rick Ector, ladies and gentlemen, what an extreme honor. Thank you so much, especially for the women that you use in terms of training and giving them the advantage that they need in the city of Detroit and wherever you go. I thank God for you because my own.
Well, man, just the one last point to make, man. On this last day, we had this training program, and one day, me and approximately 60 fellow trainers, we gave a shooting experience educational session to just over 800 women. We taught over 800 women how to shoot and operate a gun safely in one day. So I'm looking to break my record next year. I want to hit 1,000 in one day.
I would love for you to do it right here in D.C. I want to work with you on that one. The nation's capital, the place where it's the hardest place outside of Chicago to get a gun. Yeah, I want to talk with you about that. Rick Ector, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's keep the dialogue going, man. Once we figure out how to make it happen, just let me know. We'll do it.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to find a way, man. God bless you. Love you dearly. Thank you so much for being on.
God bless you as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rick Ector with us. What a great honor, a tremendous honor. Rick's Firearm Academy of Detroit. You need to go to Facebook. You need to like it. I'm encouraging everyone to go to the Facebook page for Rick's Firearm Academy. If you watch this tonight, go there. Thank him for what he's doing. 800 women ladies and gentlemen. America will be safe if our mothers were able to carry their own firearm concealed. God bless you. We will be right back.